Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Kelly Sucks at Gaming. My name is Kelly and I suck at gaming. Hi. It's been a hot minute, hasn't it? A lot's been going on, a lot with work, a lot with home life, a lot with health, but you don't care about that. You just care about what I'm going to talk about today. Don't mind the odd click or typing. I will try to edit out as much of that as I possibly can. But yeah, just try not to pay attention to that. Today, I really want to talk about Animal Crossing, New Horizons, and what my wish list would be for changes that they would make, additions that they would make. Some of them are going to be really obvious and talked to death, essentially, by everybody else, including myself. And then others, I have not really heard anybody give this idea up. Like, either they haven't thought of it or they haven't just presented it in any form. I don't know. I'm not trying to claim it as my own thought, but when we get to that, I'll let you know what it is. But essentially, I just want to talk about what I would love to see change, what I would love to see added, whether them be quality of life changes, characters, new gameplay mechanics. So I guess I kind of have it broken up into like characters versus gameplay, but some of them are kind of, they correspond with each other. So it would kind of make sense to talk about them together. So I don't know how this is going to flow. I hope it flows well. I have notes, but they don't make much sense. I'm not very good at taking notes. So we're just going to start right off with the obvious. Brewster. Everybody wants him. But what would be really, really nice would be if they have old NPCs as well as your old villagers who have moved off able to show up in your Brewster's Cafe. That would be really cool. It'd be a cool way to be able to see your old villagers dropping by, kind of like how in New Leaf you could see old villagers in your town area where all your shops were, which was really nice to be able to see them again. So I think that would be a really nice way to, here's your old villagers. I mean, not everybody wants to be able to see some of their old villagers, but you know, I do. I like to say hi to them every now and then. Patrick actually has my Stitches on his island. Actually, no, he has my Stitches and my O'Hare on his island. I don't think O'Hare is going to stay, but he really loves Stitches, so he's going to keep him. But yeah, it'd just be really nice. And to bring back the mechanic from New Leaf as well, where you can work in Brewster's shop. Along with Brewster, it would be really nice for oh God, what are they called? Gyroids to come back. They're just a fun little collectible. There's something else to dig up after it rains or snows. You know, if they have it do like it did in New Leaf, where they spawn in the ground after it rained or snowed. If you haven't played another Animal Crossing game before, New Horizons. And so that would be a lot of fun. It'd just be something else to add, as well as something else to do, working in his shop, serving up coffee, you know, in all different ways. You'd have to learn what each villager, what each NPC likes as their order. You know, it'd be fun. It'd just be a new thing. I would also really love to see Reese and Cyrus come back in a different capacity. It's nice to see them for the wedding event, but like, I don't know. It just, for it to be the exact same thing every year, which I know that's Animal Crossing, like that's no surprise there. It's nice to see them, but it's just, I would love it if they would bring back, they don't even have to bring back retail, but even if they kind of expand Nooks or expand resident services in order for Reese and Cyrus to have their own little area of it. I don't know, like if Nooks had an upstairs, it could be Reese and Cyrus's area. It would be really cool for them to have essentially their own little retail. And you can have a couple of spaces like you did in New Leaf where you can put up some items for sale that either your villagers or other characters can come by to buy. I think it would be a really great way to try to mitigate scams, at least for items and clothing. If you're trading those through like Nookazon or something, or just online in general, I think that would be some way to help mitigate people getting scammed in that regard. Like I said, it wouldn't work for everything, obviously, but it would work really well for like clothes and furniture. So that way, the person selling can put it in one of the retail spaces and say, I will only take this much money for it. So that way, when somebody comes to buy that item or that piece of clothing, they have to pay that much, and it would go directly to the player who's selling it. It would really help, instead of having like people to drop things and that honor code and everything. I've never had a bad experience, but I have seen people that have had bad experiences. So I think that would just be a great way to help mitigate that. But then I also would love for Cyrus to get his own area as well, where he can customize things. And I think this kind of goes along with my talk about like Nook Mile tickets and Nook Miles. So you really quickly run out of reasons to use Nook Miles, especially once you buy all the items and all the DIYs from the Nook Stop Center thing, kiosk, I don't know what it's called. Once you buy all the items that you want from that, and there's not much else to buy other than Nook Mile tickets, and not everybody wants a bunch of Nook Mile tickets. They're really, really hard to redeem in large quantities because you can only redeem once at a time, which goes into another thing that we'll talk about in a minute. But not everybody like needs Nook Mile tickets. Maybe you're not really trading online. Maybe you kind of have everything that you want and all the materials that you need. Maybe you have all the villagers that you want. You have all of your dreamies, so you have no need to go dreamy hunting or villager hunting anymore. So it's like all those Nook Miles just pile up. Like for me, I think I have like almost 500,000 Nook Miles saved up and nothing to spend them on. And I think what would be really great is if Cyrus was able to, by spending Nook Miles, you can actually customize the items, the furniture items that you have either in your Nook Stop or in your Nook's Cranny, that only come in that one color and can't be customized. And so in order to get the other colors, what Nintendo really wants you to do is pay for online and trade to get those other colorways. But I think it'd be really cool and a really great use of Nook Miles if Cyrus could do it. By paying him Nook Miles, he can actually customize those items. And then also there could be like this, so not only would it cost Nook Miles, but it would also cost time. So maybe he's like, oh, it's going to take so and so many days for me to finish this. So you can only do one item every so often or whatever. But it's like for people who don't have online, aren't able to pay for it, or our kids can't get their parents to pay for it or whatever, or people who simply just can't afford it. I know it's only like what, $25 a year or something like that. I don't know. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I know it's not that expensive, but for some people that can mean something. So for those who can't play online or choose not to, it would be a really great way to get the colorways of items that they really want, rather than having to rely on online. Because like I said earlier, there's also that scam aspect. Like I said, it's not super rampant. It's never happened to me, but it's still something that can happen. So I think that would be a really great use of people's Nook Miles. I know it would really be limiting people playing online probably by giving that opportunity. And I know a lot of people would be able to just like time travel in order to get around the time limit. But it's an idea. I thought it was a really good idea. And it would be something more long-term that you'd be able to use your Nook Miles for, rather than just redeeming for Nook Mile tickets, And that kind of brings me along to a few like quality of life things. We'll get back to characters, but it's just kind of a good segue into quality of life. So like trying to redeem things from Nook Stop or Nook Shopping, or even in Nook's Cranny and Able Sisters as well. I know people have said this one to death, just like Brewster, but like, let us have a shopping cart. Let us do batch crafting. Let us order Nook Mile tickets in batches, or at the very least, like if they're not going to let us add as many as we want, like as many items as we want, at least let us do it in like increments of 10 at least. That would be a lot easier. I know it would be so much easier. And if they wanted to keep things like the Nook Stop where you can only order 5 items a day, if they wanted to keep that limit, which they probably would, then just let us add up to 5 items and then let us pay for them all together rather than redeeming one at a time. Same in, Nook's Cranny, especially for the cabinet in Nook's Cranny. I know there's those 2 items that are next to the cabinet that are infinite amounts, but even just the cabinet would be great. Able Sisters would be fabulous. There are already open buttons, like buttons that aren't mapped to anything while you're in the closet at Able Sisters. And so it'd be super duper nice to maybe add a button while you're in the closet or something. I don't know. That is something like add to cart rather than put it on your body, like you already do. You already just kind of add it to your body. So there should be another button that's something like add to cart. That way you can add multiple shirts, multiple pants, multiple dresses, multiple shoes, all of the above. You can add multiple things so that it's like, okay, well, you can't put like 8 shirts on your character at once, but what if you want every color that it comes in? Especially if you're somebody who's trying to finish your catalog. It'd be so much easier than having to go in and out, in and out, in and out. Don't take that the wrong way. So that's just like, and again, I know that's something that people have just been harking on, like, please give us this, please. Everybody has said it. And it's like, I know all of these things are things that Nintendo won't do. I mean, I'm sure Brewster is coming, potentially gyroids, because I know those were data mined as well. But like all these other things, I know they're not going to happen. I know they're not. But like I said, this is just a wish list. These are things that would be incredible. Continuing on the quality of life aspect, I also would love something like that's in Stardew Valley. You have the option to turn on a setting called Tool Hit Location, and it shows you exactly where your tools are going to hit, exactly what square of on the grid you're going to be altering. That would be incredible to have, even if it is just on like when you're in construction mode doing terraforming. I could understand them not wanting to have it on for things like bugs and fishing and diving and what else do you call it? I don't know. Regular shoveling. I don't know. I can understand them not wanting that, or placing furniture outside. I can understand them not wanting that for that, especially because it would kind of like clutter up your I wouldn't say a heads up display, but like it would kind of clutter the screen a little bit. But like, especially if you're terraforming, it'd be nice to have that as an option. Going off of more options, it would be really nice as well if when you are in the main menu for the game, like before you've started up, when you first clicked into it and you haven't gotten into actually entering your save file yet, you have the option to press minus and it goes to Tom Nook and he gives you some settings things that you can do. It would be really, really nice to have a few volume sliders in there where he would allow you to change the volume of certain things. So if you wanted to, you could turn the music completely off. If you wanted to, you could turn the sound effects totally off so you just have the music. And also in addition, it'd be really nice to have one specifically for the waterfalls, because oh my goodness, those are so loud. They are so incredibly loud. And for me, they kind of ruin the experience because it's really grating on the ears. I know a lot of people like to talk about 2 o'clock's music. That's also really grating on the ears, but it's like, it'd be so nice to be able to actually turn that stuff off from within your Switch, rather than like, especially if you're a content creator or something and you're capturing footage, you don't have to go in and do it in post or whatever. It'd be so much easier, and it'd be a more fun playing experience too for those who don't want like the music and would love to listen to their own music in the background, or for those who don't like the sound of the waterfalls like myself, where it just really grates on you and it really irritates you, and actually it keeps you from building any waterfalls on your island at all because you don't want to hear it. I think that would be an incredible thing. Another thing is I would love to see more house customizations. I know that, again, that's another one that people bring up quite often, is we really don't have many options as far as house customization. I mean, we have a lot of colors, but we just don't have a lot of like varied options. Everything is kind of along the same sort of cottagey direction, I guess. Kind of cottagey, woodsy sort of. There's like a couple of doors that lean more into like a more royal kind of feel, but for the most part everything just feels really cottagey. And while that's fine, it's like, well, but it doesn't really fit in with everybody's islands. I mean, you've seen all the incredible different themes and designs and choices that people have made for their islands, and it's like none of the housing customization options fit. It'd just be really nice to have a few more options that are just different than the whole cottagey variety. You know, you've got the plain kind of stucco, you've got the stucco with the kind of like woodsy cobblestoney siding with it, and then you've got the Tudor, and it's like that's all just kind of like European style. Like, can we get anything else? Can we get anything that's a little more, I don't know, Asian inspired? Or maybe we can just get like a good brick siding, you know, just some more different things that would fit in a little bit different, you know, and would lend itself better to other styles, you know. It'd just be really nice. Another one that a lot of people have thrown in there a whole lot is Tortimer, or Tortimer's Island, or some variation. We don't even have to include Tortimer, honestly. I wouldn't be upset not seeing him come back, but I would love to see, like people said, the little mini game islands, whether you're playing online or by yourself. They're a lot of fun. Maybe they could add like one or two new item sets as well as clothing sets that goes along with it, that you can unlock by playing the mini games and getting some form of currency, sort of like you do in New Leaf, where you play them to get currency to buy the items that are for sale in the little island shop. So that would be a lot of fun. And you know, they're just little mini games. They're the same of what even if they're the exact mini games from New Leaf, I would be fine. Like it's just something else to do, especially if you do have a lot of friends that just want to kind of hang out. It's something fun just to do. I would love to see Gracie Grace come back, and I think she would have a really great place in Abel's if we were able to expand Abel's again. Not really again. There really wasn't an expand. It was more like they went from a stall to a building. So it would be nice for Abel's to expand and maybe get an upstairs where that can be home to Gracie Grace, as well as Label. Both Label and Gracie Grace can be on the upstairs portion of Abel's. They can have that's where they can kind of sell their, like Label can sell her fashion designs, as well as Gracie Grace can sell her super high-end furniture. They can create a new high-end furniture set for her to sell that, you know, of course is a crazy amount of bells to buy, just like it was in New Leaf. You can also, I don't know, if you really wanted to, you know, we could expand because like right now Label kind of has the purpose that Gracie Grace had in New Leaf, where Label would come and she'd ask you to dress in a certain way and if you do it so many times in a row correctly, then Gracie Grace will finally open shop. But that's what Label currently does, but Label doesn't open shop, and it's nowhere near as difficult as Gracie Grace's was. Gracie's was really difficult. And most of the time you had to look up a thing like that told you what type of clothing was which, like what kind of, I don't want to say personality, but it's kind of like that, where each clothing is kind of categorized into a personality type. And so when she would ask you first that, you had to either dress all in that personality type or most of that personality type, along with maybe some that are kind of complementary, but you can't dress in anything that is like totally opposite or totally negates the personality that she gives you. And so it was it was a lot more difficult than what Label has you do. And I wish Labels was a little more like that. And I also wish that you got something a little better. Like the Label clothing is cool, but like I never wear it. I think I did her little kind of questy thing maybe like 5 times before I just didn't care anymore because I didn't like the clothing and I wasn't going to wear it. So, you know, it'd be really cool to see Gracie come back, expand Abel's, bring some new furniture, some new clothing maybe for Label as well. I think that would be really cool. Everyone talks about having Kick stay around, but I think it'd be cool to have like Gracie and Label stay around. Another thing that I would love is, and again, this is one that I've heard many a times, is bringing back Lyle and Lottie and the Happy Home Academy. Right now, the Happy Home Academy is just this weird entity that like looks in your windows every Sunday or Saturday night, whatever, to see what your house looks like. And this is an idea that I've heard many other YouTubers point out, but it'd be really cool if they gave you the opportunity to redesign your villagers' houses if you wanted to. You know, and it wouldn't be like when you would want, like you couldn't do it anytime you wanted. It was more like your villager had to request it. So it wouldn't be exactly like Happy Home Designer where it's like, oh, well, I want this, where they're going to suggest, you know, ask for something specific. But you have to wait until that villager, kind of like the randomness with like moving out, villagers who move out. It'd be the same kind of thing where just randomly a villager would come in and be like, hey, you know, I'm really feeling a change. I'd really love my house to get redecorated. And so that's your opportunity to just kind of go ham and redecorate it however you want, if you want to. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. You can totally leave it. And, you know, maybe that could be like a dialogue option. Be like, oh, I really love your house the way it is. I think you should keep it. So you kind of get the same kind of options that you do when the villager is asking to move out, where you can either say, yeah, see ya, bye, or no, you can't leave, you're going to stay. So you kind of get the same options, so that if like, you know, you don't want their house to change, you can be like, oh, I think your house is really great. I love everything about it. You should leave it the same way. And they're like, you know, you're right. That's fine. I'm going to leave it. You know, and so then that gives people the option. It gives some people something else to do. Another thing just to do, as well as another interaction with your villagers, making them feel a little more, just ever so slightly more real and more personable. Because that's another big problem that people have with villagers, is that they're eye candy. They're nothing. So it would just give something else to do, and it would allow people who really don't like certain villagers' houses, maybe they love the villager and maybe they love the exterior of their house. So that would be something that would stay the same. As the exterior you can't change, but you can change their interior. But you know, some people really love the villager, they love the exterior of their house, but the interior is just like, it just doesn't feel right for them, or it's just, you don't like it. You know, or it doesn't match with the rest of your island. Maybe you're going for a specific style. The villager itself matches the outside of their house, but the inside of their house is just like, what? So I think that would be an option as well. And I think that would be really cool. Again, it would be something fun to do, and just another kind of thing to do, really. You know, and it would allow you to just kind of keep changing your villagers' homes too. So something else to just always kind of keep redesigning and having fun with, and really making use of the items that a lot of us have stored in our inventory that we will probably never ever use, but we hold on to them because you never know, you know, you just never know. But yeah, that's kind of my list for right now. I know it was kind of scatterbrained. I tried to make it a little bit make sense as I went on. I'm really curious as to know if you have any other ideas, or what you think about some things that would be really nice for New Horizons to add or to change, whether it be like quality of life, or a returning NPC or a new NPC would be fun. You know, I'd just be really excited to hear what everybody else's ideas are. I've heard of a lot on the internet already. I know a lot of people do these videos pretty frequently, but because there's, you know, quite a discourse around New Horizons now, after, especially once it hit that 1 year mark. I know a lot of people are just like, where is the content? So, thank you so much for listening. I know this really wasn't much of a watch. This was more of kind of like a podcasty style. I don't know. I thought it was fun. I had these thoughts on my mind. I have a couple other things that I want to do, but just time has been really short. I'm actually doing this while I'm on my lunch. So if that tells you anything, this is about as much time as I've got on my hour-long lunch to sit here and just quickly record a kind of podcasty kind of video thing. But like I said, please let me know what you think, what your thoughts are down below, and I'll see y'all guys later. Bye!